Welcome back folks, new patch for Crimson Desert is out, specifically the patch 1.06, and I've spent the entire morning going through everything and testing it because there is a lot to cover here. Because this update adds a long-awaited extraction function to recover materials used in refinement, as well as special mounts. It also introduces various improvements, including a display sheet option and a night tone mode option. First off, we're gonna be starting with new special mounts, because certain animals can now be registered as special mounts after gaining their trust. And those are bears, boars, wolves, deer, mountain goats, cuckoo birds, iguanas, raptors, camels, lions, and tigers, so a lot here. Ferocious animals can be tamed by subduing and feeding them, while certain species require unique methods to tame. But keep in mind that feeding untamable animals will not affect their trust level. And this is quite amazing because, well, they brought a lot of mounts for us which we can tame, especially because I was looking at camels, I wanted to have them as mount, and now it's available, and on top of that, tigers and lions as well, which is quite cool. So I went out to look for those mounts, and honestly, going through them was quite amazing because it just adds more stuff to do in the game, and it unlocks basically a lot more stuff which people were sort of requesting. And also you can now feed your mount while riding it by selecting a food item from your inventory and choosing feed. They've also added a new tab for special mounts to the inventory UI to make it more easier, which is quite a nice, quality of life improvement. And also they fixed the mount quick slot so that only one mount and one special mount can be assigned. Also keep in mind that saddles no longer appear as a part of the special mount's default appearance and can now be equipped. So you basically do it by the mount equipment in the special mounts tab. And when it comes to saddles for special mounts, they can be purchased at saddleries in various cities, as you can see here. Like for example in Calfade you can get saddles for bears and cuckoo birds. In the Pyloon saddlery you can get saddles for bears and ibexes. In Tomaso you can get saddles for iguanas, and so on and on. This feature quite amazing, I love it, especially having the ability to get all of those mounts that I wanted to always get. They've also added an extraction feature that allows you to recover materials used to refine equipment. So materials used to refine equipment can partially be recovered if you have a sword or a piece of armor or whatever which you're not using anymore, or maybe you just thought it's not going to look good with your current fit. Well, you can now go and extract those materials from it. And as you can see, this feature can be used by interacting with smithies in various regions, including the one in your camp. So the extraction itself can be performed for a single refinement level, or all the way back to the base level itself, which is the equipment's refinement level when it was first acquired. And also don't worry, because extracting equipment only affects its refinement level and does not destroy the item, so you don't have to worry about that. And the extraction result is that extracting it back to a refinement level 4 will recover the materials used to refine up to level 10 and return the equipment refinement to level 4. And the quantity of recovered items will vary depending on their type. So special materials such as artifacts and scales are recovered at 100% the amount of use, so you don't have to worry about that. But the common materials such as iron ore, copper ore, and bloodstones are recovered at approximately 70% of the amount used, which is not really an issue because, well, you can get those, things really fast. But when it comes to artifacts and scales, which are much rarer and, more difficult to acquire, well, you're going to get all of them. And this was one of those features which was highly requested, and honestly it makes sense because it's now going to make me go and check out, other armor pieces and level them up again, because it makes more sense, because I don't have to waste a lot of time to get all of the other artifacts and scales and other equipment to actually get it up to the level which I want it to be. They've also added new unarmed combat skills for Oongkas, so you select fists from the skill menu to see the new skills. And also the unarmed skills for Damien will be added in the next update, so keep that in mind. Another big thing is that they added sheaths for swords, as you can see on the back of Cliff. So they have added a sheath option that lets you choose whether your character's sheath is shown, and you can disable or enable that in the gameplay options. They've also added the item Sigil of Valor. When equipped, pet dogs will attack enemies, making them a lot more useful than just collecting stuff. And this item can be purchased from the secret shop NPC in Poronin. This shy walks around Poronin all the time, it's honestly not that difficult to find it. Another fun thing is that they added a claw machine at the Laughing Marionette, which means that you can now go and play this minigame. Now the obtainable items include 12 types of lightning items, 1 type of chair, 1 type of special headgear, Abyss artifact and Abyss gears, so quite a fun thing to do. When it comes to content, they've improved certain equipment, such as visions, so they can now be enhanced, and you can also add Abyss gears in their sockets, which is a very nice change in case you want to use it. The number of sockets matches the default number of sockets for the equipment type, so keep that in mind. However, some equipment and cuckoo equipment have fewer sockets than other equipment of that same type. They've also adjusted the elemental resistances of certain cloaks to better match their characteristics, as you can see here with the cloaks I'm going through. It's quite nice, honestly, like some of this didn't make sense, so I'm glad they actually went through it and just made it, proper this time. They've also fixed an issue where certain comrade missions did not restart automatically. This was a problem introduced in the previous update, but do keep in mind that the new feature, which was sort of added in one of the previous updates, is that also you can now start a dispatch mission, which if you send them like this, it's only going to do it 1 time. But if you click the repeat mission, then it's going to do the, the usual thing. It's going to do the thing, get you the items or get you basically stuff for the camp, and then it's going to restart automatically. They've also fixed an issue where pets could not be summoned in certain situations, as a lot of people were reporting those bugs. They fixed an issue where the sweet taste of bounties could not be completed when progressed in certain order. They've also fixed an issue where the Sauté of Bond would disappear from the recoverable items. Additionally, Sauté of Bond has been reissued, so keep that in mind, because again, one of the biggest comments I've been getting in my previous videos is that people said that, well, their Sauté of Bond was pretty much nowhere to be found, so you can now go and get those birds. They've also fixed an issue where the Iron Eagle, a new pet which was introduced in the previous update, could not be tamed if it was not tamed in the first attempt. If you didn't get the Iron Eagle yet, I do recommend you get it, and I have a video on it on how to do it. They've also added the Clean All, Butcher All and Obtain All Seeds function to the inventory, which is a nice quality of life improvement. They fixed an issue where the horse tag could not be dyed in certain situations. They've also added new ways to obtain previously unobtainable knowledge for certain factions. They changed the refinement using identical equipment so that it's only available up to the level immediately before an Abyss artifact is required, so keep that thing in mind. They've improved certain items so now they can be stacked, like furniture and ornaments, which is quite nice. And another big change is that Cliff can now wear some of the Oongkas outfits. Keep that in mind, this is very nice addition which they have added. Also, the Greymane Cloth Cloak is now available for Oongka as well. And that's all when it comes to content. Generally, a lot of good stuff here, especially because now Cliff can wear some of the Oongka's outfits, because Oongka has some of amazing sets which I was kinda sad that, Cliff cannot wear. When it comes to combat and action, they've improved the default stance and movement animations when fighting unarmed, making them a bit more responsive in that way. They changed the blinding flash so it can now be used even without an equipped weapon. Very, very cool. They've also added additional effects when firing two-handed cannons and adjusted the base attack power of two-handed cannons. They've improved the chain attacks that follow the unarmed combat skill Roundhouse Kick. They've improved targeting when aiming ranged weapons at small animals, which was sort of causing issues sometimes, but now it's actually quite better, especially when it comes to hunting those, gold apple carrying hedgehogs. They also fixed an issue where certain bosses would take excessive of damage when struck with heavy objects, so keep that in mind if you were using that way of defeating bosses. They also fixed an issue where arrows could not be fired after loading the game, even when they were in the inventory. I tried recreating this bug, but honestly I didn't have it, so it is what it is. When it comes to controls, they've improved the convenience of objects placement on bookshelves during the house decorations. They've also added an animation that plays when you fail to turn a large valve all the way. They've improved climbing over windows so that it can now be done from either side while hanging on the wall, because climbing through the windows in this game was not really all that well. Like sometimes like Cliff or whatever character you're using would fall down or go over the window and it wasn't really working well, so now it's a lot cleaner in that way. They've also improved the camera angle so that after following an NPC for a certain period of time, it automatically adjusts to align with the player's direction of movement. As far as the UI goes, they fixed an issue where certain input prompts were not displayed depending on the input method. They've improved the character customization and die menus to display the amount of currency you are carrying, which is quite nice. They've added a search function to the skills menu that allows you to search for specific skills. It's a very nice quality of life change. I mean, I personally did not need it, but it's nice to have it in general. They've also improved fishing so that the relevant guide is also displayed while waiting, of course, more guides. They've improved the UI of Research Institute to make it more intuitive, so if you're going for the research, this is actually how it's going to look now. They've also fixed an issue where the UI would freeze in certain situations when changing customized presets for keyboard and mouse controls. When it comes to graphics and settings, they've added something really cool here. They've added the night tone mode option. So what does this mean? Well, when enabled, overall colors become softer and darker, shaded areas appear slightly brighter, and when disabled, the overall controls become sharper and darker and shaded areas appear slightly darker. Very nice thing to have. I've been testing it. It kind of helps with the eyes a little bit, especially if you're playing like during the night and you have a very bright display. This can be a really nice feature to have. As far as the Mac goes, they've improved the HDR support detection for each display so that HDR can now be enabled on supported external monitors and will not be enabled on unsupported monitors. And also they fixed an issue where GPU crashes would occasionally occur during gameplay. I don't have this game on Mac, so I was not able to test this though. They've also fixed a rendering issue that occurred at 5120 by 2160 resolution if you're playing obviously in that huge widescreen resolution. They fixed an issue where colors would appear inverted when using the photo mode in certain situations. I noticed it a lot, it was driving me crazy, so after testing it again, it is now properly fixed. They've also fixed an issue where enabling HDR would disable direct to play and improve HDR quality in general. They've also fixed an issue where the adaptive triggers option in settings and input was not being applied correctly. They fixed an issue where the game would close when changing the HDR or frame generation option while playing the game with external overlay programs. They've also fixed an issue where the headgear on and off option was not displayed when selecting the body tattoo option at the barber. And as far as the localization go, as always they fixed various localization errors and improved localization quality across all languages, but nothing was specific on what was exactly fixed in that way. At least it wasn't written here. As far as the other fixes go, there is a lot here, so bear with me. So first off, they fixed an issue where the contribution equipment would disappear from the recoverable items. Quite good. They fixed an issue where the collar area of the elegant carmine leather armor could not be dyed. For Damien and Oongkas, they fixed an issue where face and body tattoos were not applied after applying them and reloading the game. And also they fixed an issue where the equipped horse stack would appear in Cliff's horse stack slot. And for Damien specifically, they fixed an issue where Damien was unable to equip a sight. Well, now you can do it. They also fixed the issue where the fish would not bite when the hook was cast fast into certain areas. And when it comes to fish, they also increased the selling prices, so now if you want to go and sell them, well, you can go and do it. They've also increased the chances of obtaining a base gear blueprint at certain strongholds. When it comes to dispatch, exploration and excavation missions and strongholds, as well as die house labor support missions, they can now be carried out repeatedly. They've also fixed the issue where the books could not be examined while on horseback, and also they fixed an issue where the elemental meteor kick would not execute properly. If you were having issues with it, well, you can now properly do it. They've also fixed an issue where certain plants could be obtained endlessly when using the cuckoo gathering pack, so these things, well, they're not gonna be working anymore as before. And also they've improved the quality of certain items. And for the end, two fixes which I think are important is that they fixed an issue where using Black Star's breath would occasionally cause frame drops, and also they fixed an issue where the game would load indefinitely in certain save files. Keep in mind, the rest is pretty like minor in that sense on these fixes, so for the full ones I'm going to leave you a link down below so I don't repeat myself constantly in this video, because these are just minor changes in general. Now, as far as my opinion goes, overall this patch was quite amazing because, well, first off, we got a lot of new mounts to get and just to play with, and second of all, being the option to just, you know, extract some of these stuff from the already used equipment in the refinement, because, well, it just puts more things into perspective now, where you can go and say, okay, I don't like this armor piece anymore, I want to, you know, do something else, but I don't want to grind for the equipment to do it again. Well, at least you can now extract those abyss gears, and it's gonna be a lot easier to do it in that way. So they have been working really hard on the roadmap. I think most of the roadmap is now pretty much finished, but the Pearl Abyss did say in an interview for Washington Post that their, you know, roadmap is not set in stone. So if the community wants something, if community is vocal about something, they're going to do it. So they're going to adjust the roadmap as they go along, because they keep listening to the community, and obviously community is going to reward that by playing the game and ultimately supporting this company. But you can tell me down below if you experienced any new issues. Honestly, so far, at least when it comes to this update, I did not have any big bugs or glitches to report. Nothing was missing. I was able to use pretty much everything. So on that front, I think they pretty much QA'd this really well. But again, these things can appear on various different playthroughs, so you can just let me know down below in the comments if you are having any issues. And this is all for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to stay updated with everything Crimson Desert related, don't forget to like and subscribe, and as I said, tell me down below what do you think about this patch. Join our community on Twitter and Discord, and huge thanks to my Patreon supporters. This is LKM signing out, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye bye.